Hey everyone, welcome to LearnEnglishPodcast.com, the show that turns English into a daily habit. I'm Wason, a teacher from Boston with 15 years in the classroom, and I'll guide you toward speaking naturally, just like you chat with friends at a summer barbecue.
Hi friends, I'm Lydia, broadcasting from sunny San Diego. I know exactly how you feel. Reading articles is easy, but ordering coffee without freezing up can feel impossible. Today, we'll break that wall and make speaking as casual as asking, "What's up?" at a baseball game.
Let's kick off with the core issue. Millions understand movies, podcasts, even technical manuals. Yet the moment someone asks a simple question, their mind blanks. Why do comprehension and conversation grow at such different speeds, and how do we close that frustrating gap?
Great question, Wason. In my coaching sessions, 4 villains show up again and again: fear of mistakes, lack of practice opportunities, obsessive grammar checking, and a silent environment. Think of them as roadblocks on Route 66. We'll learn to drive around each one today.
Let's start with fear. Lydia, why does the idea of using one wrong verb tense or mispronouncing a vowel frighten learners more than a late-night horror movie marathon? What's going on inside that anxious brain?
Honestly, it's judgment anxiety. Students picture native speakers laughing or correcting them in public, so their survival instinct says, "Stay silent, avoid embarrassment." But silence doesn't teach. Remember, toddlers stumble over words daily, yet no parent cancels their birthday. Mistakes are proof of progress.
I like to reframe mistakes as sticky notes for the brain. Say you confuse kitchen and chicken at a diner. Everyone laughs, you blush, but you'll never mix them again. That tiny cringe buys lifelong accuracy. And that's a bargain in any language market.
Exactly. But after fear, the next hurdle is simply not talking enough. Many learners binge-watch shows and label it study time, yet their microphone collects dust. Speaking muscles like gym muscles shrink without reps. No conversational reps, no conversational strength. Simple physiology.
A perfect analogy is learning basketball by only watching NBA highlights. Sure, you'll recognize a pick and roll, but you'll still double dribble during a real pickup game. Language follows the same rule. Observation inspires, but action wires the circuits.
Let's tackle grammar overload. Some students mentally draft Shakespearean prose before opening their mouth. Meanwhile, the conversation speeds past like a New York taxi. Aim for clear, not perfect. You can polish grammar afterward, the way writers edit second drafts.
So, how do we escape these traps, Lydia? What 3 concrete moves can our listeners make today, before their next coffee break, to loosen their tongue, boost confidence, and finally turn all those passive hours into active speech?
First, flip the mindset. Treat mistakes as tickets to fluency. Keep a tiny notebook titled "Today's Valuable Errors." Write each slip, the correction, and one funny emoji. Reviewing that list feels like leveling up in a video game instead of reliving embarrassment.
Second, start ridiculously small. Tomorrow morning, say, "Large latte, please," out loud to the mirror while you tie your shoes. That deliberate 30-second rehearsal will spill into real-life ordering, and suddenly the barista hears English instead of pointing at the menu.
Yes, and if the mirror feels lonely, use your phone camera. Record a 60-second diary about your day. I finished a spreadsheet, walked my dog, cooked chili. Play it back during dinner. You'll notice filler words, pronunciation gaps, and celebrate the improvements.
Pro tip: store those clips in a folder labeled Progress and compare week 1 to week 4. The difference will shock you more than seeing your middle school yearbook photo. Instant motivation to keep speaking daily.
Third, upgrade your inner monologue. Swap, "My accent is terrible" for "My accent is a work in progress." Americans love progress narratives, think gym transformations, so give yourself the same cinematic storyline while you learn pronunciation.
Lydia, listeners often complain, "I watch 3 hours of Netflix every night. Why am I still tongue-tied at work?" Can you unpack the crucial difference between comfortable passive soaking and the sweatier, active speaking required for fluency?
Sure thing. Passive learning is absorption. You sit like a sponge while English flows over you. Great for vocabulary input and accent exposure, but sponges don't talk. Without squeezing the water out by speaking, you never test recall speed or sentence building.
Active learning, on the other hand, feels like doing push-ups. You form sentences, hear your own voice, adjust midstream, and sometimes flop. That muscle burn is cognitive growth. 5 minutes of active drills often beats an hour of passive streaming.
Most learners spend 90% of their study time passively and only 10% actively. Flip that ratio, even 50-50 works wonders. Think of it as reallocating budget, fewer spectator hours, more player minutes.
Earlier, I compared speaking to basketball. Here's another, playing guitar. You can watch Eric Clapton solos all weekend, but until your fingers blister on the strings, you're still just an audience member, not a musician.
Absolutely, and the reason passive feels cozy is zero risk. You can't mispronounce while listening, but comfort zones are like padded cells, safe yet limiting. You've got to push the door open and risk a little linguistic bruise.
Research backs this up. Students remember roughly 90% of what they teach themselves through action, but only 20% of what they merely read or hear. In other words, your mouth is the best flashcard printer you own.
Okay, statistics convinced us. But listeners still need practical pathways. What everyday exercises can transform them from spectators into speakers without quitting their job, moving to Chicago, or marrying a native speaker for instant immersion?
My top choice is shadowing. But before we dive in, quick reminder. You're watching a video from learnenglishpodcast.com. Smash that like button so the algorithm tells us you're awake. All right, shadowing. Listen. Pause half a second, then echo the sentence aloud.
Shadowing trains pronunciation, rhythm, and confidence simultaneously. Pick a 2-minute clip, news, sitcom, or even a Super Bowl commercial. Use earphones, mimic every beat, and exaggerate emotion. It's karaoke for language, and nobody at home cares if you miss a note.
The next drill is thinking in English. While cooking pancakes, narrate, "I'm whisking batter, flipping the first cake, adding blueberries." Questions work too. Should I use maple syrup or honey? This shifts your default mental language without costing extra time.
I love that because daily routines are built in practice chambers. Walking the dog? Describe the weather. Commuting? Predict the day's tasks aloud. Americans constantly talk to themselves. You'll fit right in and polish vocabulary simultaneously.
Consistency matters more than intensity. 5 spoken minutes every lunch break beats a silent hour on Sunday. Set a phone alarm labeled "Speak" and riff about anything. Your sandwich, a funny meme, tomorrow's meeting agenda.
But what if someone lives in a non-English town, shares an apartment with relatives who prefer their native tongue, and feels isolated? Environment still counts, so let's architect a cyber environment that pumps English into their ears all day.
Great, Lydia. Walk us through building that digital immersion step by step. Which free apps, device settings, or quirky hacks instantly flip the switch from local language to non-stop English exposure, even if their neighbors blast K-pop?
First, change every gadget to English: phone, laptop, smart fridge. Next, follow English language YouTube channels, news feeds, and meme pages. Use language exchange apps like Tandem or Hello Talk to trade 10-minute voice notes with Texans who want to learn Japanese.
Layer in background audio. While jogging, stream an ESPN podcast. While cleaning, blast country music lyrics on repeat. Passive sound exposure keeps your ear tuned, so active speaking feels less foreign.
And don't forget good old self-talk. Americans mutter grocery lists under their breath in Walmart aisles. You can rehearse small talk the same way without anyone thinking twice. Trust me, Bluetooth headsets made talking to yourself socially acceptable.
If you crave real dialogue, join weekly Zoom meetups or Discord servers focused on hobbies, gaming, gardening, even fantasy football. Shared interests spark genuine conversations, so vocabulary sticks more than forced textbook drills.
Now cement the habit. Schedule speaking like brushing teeth. Put a sticky note on your monitor. English 5-minute sprint. Use calendar reminders until the routine feels automatic, the way you never forget morning coffee.
Even with habits, anxiety can sneak in. Many learners whisper, "What if I get stuck mid-sentence?" Lydia, how can they stay calm when words hide like socks in the dryer?
Strategy 1. Slow down. Fluency isn't auctioneering speed, it's clear delivery. Imagine ordering at In and Out. If they understand double, no onions, you've succeeded. Pausing gives your brain catch-up time and listeners breathing room.
Strategy 2. Positive self-talk. Swap panic phrases like, "I'll mess up" with sports coach lines. Next play, next word. Americans love pep talks. Give yourself one. Studies show self-encouragement lowers cortisol and keeps speech flowing.
And finally, celebrate each mistake. When you accidentally say sheet instead of seat, laugh, correct, and imagine adding a new badge to your Language Scout sash. Humor dissolves tension faster than any grammar chart.
Let's throw in some real conversation starters our listeners can borrow tomorrow. For example, instead of the generic, "How are you?" try layering details. "How's your week going so far?" Or context-based, "What did you think of the Monday night game?" The more specific the question, the easier the conversation snowballs.
And remember, follow-up questions. Keep dialogue alive. If someone says, "I'm working on a project," ask, "Oh, cool. What's the project about?" Or, "What part do you enjoy most?" Americans appreciate curiosity. It signals friendliness and gives them permission to share details.
Let's highlight a common word choice mix-up. Do versus make. You do homework, but you make a mistake. Try building mini-logs. Today, I did the laundry, made dinner, did a workout, and made a new friend. Notice how switching verbs changes the nuance.
Great point. Another high-frequency area is phrasal verbs. For instance, figure out means solve, run into means encounter. Craft a short diary. I ran into my neighbor, figured out the Wi-Fi issue, and wound up ordering tacos. Using them in context cements memory.
Roleplay boosts retention too. Grab a friend or record both sides yourself. Scene: complaining about a late package. One line as the customer: "My order was supposed to arrive yesterday." Switch roles: "I apologize. Let me check the tracking." Swapping perspectives rehearses vocabulary and empathy.
Let's design a 10-minute daily speaking circuit. Minute 1. Greet yourself. Minutes 2-3. Describe surroundings. Minutes 4-5. Recall yesterday using past tense. Minutes 6-7. Plan tomorrow with future forms. Minutes 8-9. Ask and answer 2 questions. Minute 10. Positive affirmation. Done.
To measure progress objectively, create a monthly voice snapshot. Choose a 90-second topic, say, explaining American football rules, recorded on the first day of the month. Record the same topic 30 days later. Compare clarity, vocabulary variety, and filler word reduction. Evidence beats gut feeling.
Sprinkle idioms to sound natural. Instead of, I'm very tired, try I'm wiped out. After finishing homework, say, that's a wrap. Keep an idiom of the day sticky note. Use it at least twice so it sticks and doesn't gather dust.
Picture a restaurant scenario. The waiter asks, "What can I get you?" Practice ordering with modifiers. I'll have the grilled salmon, medium rare, with lemon on the side. Add a follow-up. Could I also get a refill on my iced tea? Precision plus politeness equals authentic.
Finally, reward yourself. After each speaking session, mark an X on a wall calendar, and every 7 X's treat yourself to a small celebration, maybe a slice of New York-style cheesecake. Positive reinforcement turns practice from chore to choice.
Another underrated tactic is chunking. Instead of memorizing single words, grab 3 or 4 word phrases. At the end of the day, on top of that, as far as I know, say them rapid fire while walking the dog so they roll off the tongue as one unit. Chunk chains save brain energy.
Good call. We can even gamify chunking. Write 10 phrases on index cards, shuffle, pull one, and build a spontaneous sentence around it like improv theater. Example, card says, by the way, so you say, by the way, have you tried the new burger joint downtown?
Last micro exercise before our recap, speed question drills. Set a timer for 60 seconds. Pick a random subject, say pets, and ask yourself non-stop questions. Do you have a pet? What's its name? How often do you walk it? Answer instantly. This builds reflexes. Repeat with food, travel, and career topics until forming questions feels automatic, not forced.
We've covered a ton, Wason. For listeners jogging or driving, let's package the essentials into a rapid-fire summary they can replay like a Spotify chorus. What headline points should stick in their minds tonight?
Sure thing. 1. Mute perfectionism, embrace mistakes. 2. Shift study ratio to at least 50% active speaking. 3. Shadow daily, think in English, and record yourself. 4. Build an English-saturated environment with tech and communities. 5. Practice consistently. Yes, even 5 minutes counts.
And 6, because I can't resist adding one more, fuel confidence with positive self-talk and controlled pacing. Speak slower, breathe deeper, smile wider. Remember, conversation is cooperation, not a grammar exam.
Wrap-up checklist. Notebook of errors, mirror or camera diaries, daily alarm, English device settings, shadowing playlist, hobby chat groups, growth mindset. Stick this list on your fridge door, next to the ketchup, and watch fluency rise like bread dough.
Friends, if today's episode lit a spark, hit subscribe on learnenglishpodcast.com and turn on notifications. Every week we drop fresh, bite-sized training you can finish before your coffee gets cold.
Thanks for choosing us as your speaking partners. Keep practicing, stay curious, and remember, the only way to mastery is through your own voice. See you next time on learnenglishpodcast.com.